This is Terry Kurtz online reporting on Victor Valley, High Desert, and Mojave River Valley events, activities, entertainment, sports, and history. Mental health is the topic on this edition of a program produced in 2012, Our Community.
Some of our goals are to reduce suicide and stigma and to reduce the use of substance abuse and raise awareness of the effects of mental illness.
Our Community, showcasing the talent of our high desert communities. Our Community, presented by CYAP, serving to educate, inform, and inspire the citizens of our communities. Civic leaders, law enforcement, and education officials who are dedicated to making our community, as our one nation under God, a safer, happier, more productive, and more prosperous place to live.
This is our community, baby.
Our host on Our Community, Giles Smith.
Thank you, Terry. Our goal for this next half hour is to help educate, inform, and inspire you, the people of our community.
Behavioral health is today's topic. Giles introduces us to San Bernardino County managers, directors, program analysts, and social workers in the Behavioral Health Department.
I'd like to welcome to the show today Jennifer Gonzalez from the Department of Behavioral Health.
So Jennifer, what is National Mental Health Awareness Month?
Well, that's that time of year in July where we bring awareness with ourselves, our staff, and also within the communities of San Bernardino, particularly with the ethnic communities, the minority communities in our region. And what we do is try to educate them about the effects of mental illness and how to seek help. Some of our goals are to reduce suicide and stigma and to reduce the use of substance abuse and raise awareness of the effects of mental illness and educate our communities on how they can receive services.
Tell me more about the Department of Behavioral Health.
The Department of Behavioral Health provides mental health and substance abuse services for the 20,000 square miles of San Bernardino County, which is one of the largest counties in the United States. So it's a big challenge to meet all the needs of the various many and diverse communities that we have in the county. Fortunately, I live up here in Apple Valley, so I'm able to focus on the high desert or desert mountain region for the Department of Behavioral Health, and it helps me better recognize and serve the families here in the high desert.
So what is mental health?
Mental health is your cognitive and emotional well-being and how you interact on a day-to-day basis in your job or with your family or in your community.
What is mental illness?
Mental illness is really a disorder that affects how you function in the community with your emotional or cognitive abilities and how you cope with such things as stress in your job, how you cope with your family and your family dynamics, and how you are in your community, whether you are able to, our goal is to make sure you are able to maintain this and be independent in that community and contribute to it.
I see your title says program manager. I'm sure it entails more than that, just a program manager. Tell us about it.
Well, I'm basically the regional manager up here for the Department of Behavioral Health. I do live here in Apple Valley, so that's a big advantage for me as I try to serve the communities up here because I'm part of that community. It's much easier as a manager to be able to target and improve services when you understand explicitly what the needs are, because they're your neighbors and you develop relationships between the professionals that are up here as well as the local community, and you're able to be able to improve and access services that you wouldn't be able to necessarily or wouldn't know about if you weren't actually part of that community. And I'm able to recognize and meet the needs that are up here in the high desert.
Veronica, what prevention and early intervention programs does the department offer?
Well, we have a number of prevention and early intervention programs. PEI, Prevention and Early Intervention, is funded by the Mental Health Services Act, or otherwise known as Proposition 63, which was passed by the voters in 2004. And it focuses primarily on how we prevent and intervene early in mental illnesses, much like we do with preventing and intervening early in alcohol and drug issues. We have a number up here in the high desert. For instance, we have a Family Resource Center. Family Resource Center is open to the community. It is free of charge. People can come in and get counseling. They can come in and have parenting skills. They can attend an educational seminar. We also have our Community Health Workers program, and that's also derived from the Promotoras de Salud program. Promotoras are community health workers who are part of the environment. someone like the lady in your neighborhood who knows everybody and knows everything that's going on. So she's powerful. She is a cultural broker, and what we do is we work with her. And we teach her education about what mental illness is, how you can identify symptoms, and then she takes the information and goes straight into the community and goes to the mothers who stay at home. She goes to the schools, the after-school programs, and shares the information. What we found is community trusts that person far more than they trust us. So we work with her. We've broadened this evidence-based practice that began in Mexico, and we've now advanced it to African Americans and our lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender population. We have a number of school-based programs. We have a curriculum that targets kids who are at risk for juvenile justice intervention or kids who have already been involved in our justice system. It works with them in the school system to provide them pro-social activities so that they can focus on positive social interactions versus the negative ones that got them into trouble. We have our student assistance program. We work with K through 12 in all of our school districts in the county. And this program really looks at risk behavior so that if a child is acting out in the classroom, what we know is possibly there's something else going on, and we can address that both with the teacher as well as the parents or the caregiver. We have our community wholeness and enrichment program that's also in the school-based program, in the schools, and focuses on transitional age youth, age 16 to 25, so includes some of our college and community college folk, and again, builds strength so that folks, if they're struggling with school or with stress, can prevent them from perhaps spiraling into a mental health issue. One of the programs we're very proud of is our military program. We have two providers, one who's in Barstow and one who's in 29 Palms, and they work with the military families. What we know is that the person who is in active duty is off working for America, but the family's left behind, and there's a lot of struggles with that and a lot of stress. So what that program does is offer some programs so that moms or dads who are left at home can focus on parenting. They have some things they can help their kids deal with grief and loss issues. We have, for our older adults, we have a mobile older adult program, and what it does is go out, has its own van. We go and see folks who are what we might consider shut-ins, and they're located in Hesperia, and they go out throughout the entire high desert. And we have our holistic campus, which is built on the idea of an ashram or a commune, that the people who participate in the holistic campus are part of the holistic campus, so they have a responsibility to it. So we have a number of providers who come. So if I'm a teenage kid, I can come to the holistic campus after school, and I can get involved in a program that helps me with my homework. I might want to learn more about DJing, so I can do a program there that teaches me how to do that. I might have some issues in my family, so perhaps I'll do equine therapy, which is bringing in the use of horses to help therapeutically. We also have programs that outreach to the entire county and might be located down the hill, such as our preschool services. The preschool department is located in San Bernardino City, but works with all of the preschool programs and Head Start programs throughout the county. That program works with children who are attending preschool, so age 2 to 3, and addresses behavioral health issues. And it addresses behavioral health issues with the teacher in the classroom as well as the caregiver. Teacher and caregiver then are on the same plane. They know how to interact with the child. And what we found is an increase in positive social skills. And those kids who are in the program actually outperform their peers. We have our Native American Resource Center, and that is located in San Bernardino City. It encompasses all of our Native folk in the county. We have a lot of urban Indians in this county. They make up about 1% of our population, but it gives them a place they can go to have interventions that are culturally appropriate, such as gourd rattle making, drumming, shawl making. And then we have our resilience promotion in African American children. That program we are hoping to expand up here to Victorville. And that program focuses on kids in school. It helps build resilience using an Afro-centered theory. It helps using effective black parenting with the families and the caregivers to really build the strength of the African American child. We also have a number of alcohol and drug prevention programs, and that's really essential. We know that in this county in particular, we have a pretty big drug program. So our alcohol and drug prevention programs work with our community providers. We have about 3 of them up here. And what they do is outreach to our community advocates and work with each individual community. They provide education and they help in improving access to services. Some of the things they've worked on are social host ordinance, and so that is educating and helping cities develop their own social host ordinance, which makes it illegal for adults to provide alcohol to children in their homes at perhaps a house party. Also, we're doing a big education on spice, which is synthetic marijuana, and on bath salts or plant food, which is synthetic cocaine. We've worked directly with the Sheriff's Department up here in Victorville to make it very clear to smoke shops that we will not tolerate that being sold to our children. And it's been very effective. So we have another number of these type of things, because what we know is if we intervene early, then we can prevent folks from having to come see us in our mental health clinics. We know 1 in 4 people will be impacted by a mental health issue at some point in their life. 1 in 4. We know it's even bigger than that, though, because for every one person, there's a family attached. And so it's very significant that we do this. Again, we would not be able to address this if we didn't have the Mental Health Services Act.
So how does the Department of Behavioral Health address the county's diverse cultural community?
We are mandated by federal, by state, by local law, how to look into way to improve services for residents. And we have to look through different components like linguistic or cultural competence aspect. We have to improve, work on, revise our interpretation services, interpretation training, so to ensure that not just people, but those are culturally different or linguistically challenged, able to receive the services, needless to say the same quality of services. And our goal is to establish those policy, procedure, but embedded into the process, embedded into the system throughout the county, throughout all services and collaboration. We also try to recognize, address all kind of cultural heritage activity throughout. We know that we cannot do it all by ourselves, so we establish collaboration. We work with a lot of coalition. For example, we have the Native American Coalition, the Asian Pacific Islander Coalition, we have the Latino, we have the African American Mental Health Coalition. So those are different ways that we don't say that we know it all, but we say that we try to know, and we ask community, stakeholder, cultural broker to teach us how to serve them better. Other way of thing is we develop, we monitor, we evaluate, we help to provide cultural competency training. We provide that for our staff, but we also open it up for community at large, or in this case, county contracted staff. We have different ways to approach community. We hold focus group. We ask for recommendation. We ask for suggestion. We have the cultural competence advisory committee to help us, to advise us how to do things better, how to progress forward, and how to understand the need of the community better. Last but not least, we collaborate with different agencies within our county. I just named one, for example, the ELSO. As you already know, our county has the largest population of Latino. How do we know how to serve that, for example? We know from the textbook, but do we know it in practice? So because of that, we contract with ELSO as an example. They help us to write up the curriculum, the program. They help us to train us how to outreach, how to engage, and how to provide services. And very exciting that they take that a little bit further. Now they're using that model, in this case the promotorial model, working in the community, mental health worker. But they're taking that, not just serving the Latino, but outreach and engage into the African American community. So that's how our cultural competency offices.
How is the county increasing public awareness of behavioral health services?
One in particular is the Asian Pacific Islander Mental Health Day that takes place May 11th. And this day celebrates culture, diversity, and wellness and recovery through cultural activities such as entertainment, dance, presentations, and so forth. There's also the Cambodian New Year that takes place in April. We also have the African American Mental Health Week, which we host in our various clubhouses throughout the county of San Bernardino, and it just brings about, again, cultural awareness of recovery and wellness. And in addition to that, we just recently had our Juneteenth, I would like to call it celebration, which commemorated the last slaves to be free in the United States. And not just that, but also speaking to the freedom of recovery and wellness. as well as acceptance in this county. We have the Native American Heritage Month, which takes place in November, and that also speaks to culture and traditional practices that assist individuals in their recovery. We also have the Latino Heritage Month that starts September 15th, and it also speaks to the wellness and resiliency of ethnic communities as well. Oh, yes. The community has been very accepting, and that is definitely exemplified through the number of people who attend these events. We continue to strive towards bringing awareness to the community at large, and hoping every year our events grow in terms of the individuals who are in participation. So.
Can you tell me a little bit more about your African American Awareness or Minority Awareness Month? You have it down week. How's that working?
Well, the African American Mental Health Week claimed by the County of San Bernardino, and during that week various cultural activities take place, again, in our various clubhouses throughout the County of San Bernardino. So it's raising awareness in relation to African American mental health. Historical presentations take place, art, poetry, music, and again, just speaking to the resiliency and the wellness of the African American community at large. So.
On Our Community, we seek out those who inspire us by walking the walk as well as talking the talk. Victor Valley resident David E. Presley defines and combines those qualities. Straight ahead, how his Christian faith keeps the world's top Elvis tribute artist going.
Terry Kurtz Online was brought to you by Down Home Grill in Victorville on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road.
So.
Bid fast and last, world-class auctioneers. Solid quality truck body, family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full-service commercial brokerage firm. Iwanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. We Got 'em Tees, your headquarters for custom screen printing and mastercraft embroidery design. And by the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, conference and convention center for the high desert and destination of choice of visitors and travelers to the Victor Valley.
David E. Presley has been a Victor Valley resident for 4 decades. He has risen to the top of his field, recognized as the world's top Elvis tribute artist, that recognition coming from Elvis Presley's daughter, Lisa Marie. And every year since, Lisa Marie Presley has presented David E. Presley with the coveted, commemorative, Taking Care of Business ring, reaffirming his position as the top Elvis tribute artist in the world.
Turning to God and your Christian beliefs really saved me. And I'm not just blowing smoke. I'm trying to tell you, you must believe, you must have faith, and it will overcome. Maybe today not so good, but every day after that it gets a little easier. And then within 2 weeks or a month, it will happen, or a year. But you still must believe. Yes, because he puts things in your life, people, positions, situations, and it's up to you to react to them. And the callings are there. You have to see them. It's how you react to them and make it work within your life and your lifespan. Young and old, follow, believe in it, believe in it. If you believe in it, it will happen. God and situations will put you in place that, all right, maybe you're not going to be a super rock star, but you're going to have a beautiful life. And the way it helps me is because people, I feed off them. And what they give me is why I give that back to them. And it just makes it a one big cycle. You just love it.
Saturday, August 18th, David E. Presley presents 3 Faces of Elvis, a moving and unforgettable tribute to the king of rock and roll.
August 18th on Saturday at 7 p.m. at the big Methodist Church there in Hesperia, California. 3 Faces of Elvis. We'll have a 50s Elvis, a 60s Elvis, and I'm going to do the 70s. So you'll have a different Elvis every hour from 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock. There's raffles. It's all Elvis themed day. Due to his passing on August 16th, we're honoring him on the 18th. and you need to come out. It's a family fun extravaganza. Some of the proceeds will go to the church. They need a new sound system in their building, and we'll donate some of the proceeds from the show to them, which we do a lot of. We try to do 2 fundraisers a month. That's about our limit due to my work schedule and touring. But yes, we try to give back to our community, because when I give it back to you, you're definitely going to give it back to me tenfold. And it just makes me feel warm after 31 years, still the best feeling on the planet. And that ain't no lie.
Come on!
Terry Kurtz here, throwing out an invitation for you to catch up with High Desert Sports Activity, your High Desert Sports Report, showing 3 times every day on Victor Valley TV, 7 and 11 every morning, 4 every afternoon. We hope you'll join us right here on Victor Valley TV.
When 2 people get married and they become one, the blending of this is it can be very godlike. So it can be very beautiful. So I was very happy to see something like that, other than just a typical Western with guns and not a lot of depth.
Episodes 12 and 13, Tales of the Frontier, The Bride. Let's meet the ladies of The Bride.
I'm really excited because I've never done anything like period before, and it's hard to find opportunities to do things that aren't contemporary with people who really know their stuff, and everyone working on the production knows this time period so well, so it's been great to work on.
Did Two Gun Productions offer the opportunity to do new and different things?
Absolutely. I've never done a Western. I also haven't ridden a horse since I was 10 years old, so that was pretty cool to meet my horse, to get a horse riding lesson and do that. It's also fun to talk with a southern drawl. I did grow up in Kentucky, so I used to have one, but it's good to be able to bring that back.
Native Oklahoman Kelsey Hewlett plays the mean-spirited Annie Newman, furious over being upstaged by a mail-order bride.
It's definitely out of character for me, but that kind of makes it fun to experiment and play with something that is just not the norm.
Extras are treated just as importantly as actresses in leading roles.
Well, Tales of the Frontier moves along really well. They are very well organized. I've been on some sets where you get there in the morning, you're in outfit, and you sit all day long. Tales of the Frontier really is organized, so it's a pleasure to be here.
And break down the personnel. What's Tino Luciano like to work with him being the director?
He's great. Well, all the actors and I have been talking about how we really like how he trusts his actors and lets us really make choices and kind of make a character our own. And yeah, he knows what he wants, but he also trusts the people he works with, and so it's been a really good experience.
Well, first of all, it's been a lot of fun working with them, and also they're really fast and efficient. That's been awesome.
I really enjoyed it. Just coming out to the set and everyone, just right off the bat, I came the second day and everyone has been so professional and really making sure to get everything done and making sure it looks the best that it possibly can. And it's been a really, really good experience so far, and everyone's been so easy to work with.
I love the Old West. I've been doing the Old West for many, many years, for at least 12 years now. And bringing back the Old West in its authenticity is my life.
As attractive as the ladies of The Bride are, the stealer of scenes this day, Moses, the miniature mule. Everybody, and I mean everybody, especially the lovely ladies, flocked to have their picture taken with the adorable Moses and his equally adorable handler, Lloyd Noel. The ladies of The Bride list a number of behind-the-scenes production crew members, like Dale Noel, producer and script supervisor, Carol Schreiber, production manager, and new to Two Gun Productions, art director Eloise Ayala.
I worked with Jake and Tino on another Western, but I was the production coordinator on that. But the hard part for me was when I first got here, when I drove here from LA and stayed with Carol, and I had never met Carol, and she had just had like a personal tragedy happen, and I didn't really know anybody except Jake and Tino, and I read the script, and I knew like generally what props I had to make, but I knew I wanted to do something pretty in-depth as far as the way it looked. So I did a bunch of research before I got here, but when I got here was the hardest part, because trying to figure out my bearings and what tools I needed, I wasn't that prepared as I thought I was. So I spent a lot of time in Carol's garage building props for the first 3 days before we got on set. That was the hardest part for me, because that's when I really realized like the gravity and the detail that I wanted to do, and that's when it was kind of like, oh, this is like in 2 days.
At Thousand Pines Christian Camp, writer-producer Gary Lee Brooks and wife Lucy, interviewed by the editor of the local Crestline newspaper and the Mountain News, Mary Justine Lanyon.
I actually was very, very impressed with the script, because I thought it showed so much tenderness and love. And I mean, I've always thought that God has entrusted and embedded inside of women and women's hearts the beauty of emotions. And so many times in our society, I feel like that's either overlooked or downplayed, or it's not given the preciousness that I think it deserves. So this episode is kind of about that and how important that is. And I think in a way, God also has embedded the preciousness of the gift of reasoning, like that part in the Bible where it says, let's reason together. That is actually said to everyone, men and women, but I think that if you look at it kind of like the gift of reasoning is in the heart of men, and the gift of emotions and the beauty of emotions is in the heart of women, when two people get married and they become one, the blending of this it can be very godlike. So it can be very beautiful. So I was very happy to see something like that, other than just a typical Western with guns and not a lot of depth.
The Bride, the two-part episode, wrapped the first half-season of production of Tales of the Frontier. Places to go, things to do in and around the high desert and points beyond. Presented by the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, conference and convention center for the high desert and destination of choice of visitors and travelers to the Victor Valley. Terry Kurtz Online was brought to you by Down Home Grill in Victorville on the corner of Bear Valley Road and Ridgecrest Road. Bid fast and last. World-class auctioneers. Valu Quality Truck Body. Family owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest standing full-service commercial brokerage firm. Iwanzak Law Firm. Trial lawyers for serious problems. We Got 'em Tees. Your headquarters for custom screen printing and mastercraft embroidery design. And by the Holiday Inn in Victorville. The Holiday Inn, conference and convention center for the high desert and destination of choice of visitors and travelers to the Victor Valley. That's going to do it for this edition of Terry Kurtz Online as we close out to the pounding rhythm of Hank Miranda's Final Exit. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again next time around.